Myron Gaines from the Fresh and Fit podcast is receiving backlash for his recent comments in regards to the late Kevin Samuels. History will not be revised on my watch.
The reason why the Black Manosphere died, right, is simply because Kevin Samuels didn't put his people on. He became famous. He blew up. He didn't, extend the ladder back and put his guys on, and it died.
Factually, that's just not true. Even at the height of his career, he called into your show, but y'all were acting real goofy. He wasn't about to mess up his brand being associated with y'all because he was going mainstream. He got to talk to Nicki Minaj and some other chick from like the Housewives or stuff, like people who are actually mainstream on regular TV celebrities. So I'm pretty sure he wasn't going to mess up his brand messing with y'all. Sorry if y'all see toys. My daughter's right here.
Understand the context of the conversation. This is not, they were friends and they were collaborators and they were planning on doing good work in the future. They were ops. Kevin did not bang with the Fresh and Fit platform, and Fresh and Fit did not bang with Kevin. And in fact, Kevin was creating studios down in Miami to directly compete with Fresh and Fit.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. I mean, guess that's more behind the scenes. Unless you're a part of his crew, you're going to know that. If that's true, no wonder Myron and, Walter hasn't said anything, but no wonder Myron is a little salty. Kevin Samuels, like, he had his faults, but one thing that I will say, he always pushed marriage. He wanted folks to get married after 6 months. He's like, after 6 months, what are you doing? Granted, he has failed marriages, but that's neither here nor there. He always pushed the idea of marriage, which completely conflicts with this whole mentality that Fresh and Fit podcast puts out there. They want to criticize women for being 304s, but their whole platform is like hyping up the idea of getting with a lot of women. That directly conflicts with the idea of wanting to build more households, more homes, more family units.
I've seen, everyone go off on their own and, build really successful independent channels. Everyone here is well over 100,000, where, before that was unheard of in the manosphere.
Now, what's interesting is that he talks ill of Kevin of not bringing other content creators forward, but you just said that there's other content creators that are tied to you that have independently built up their own platforms. Now, would you be pulling people on your platform, Myron, if they haven't individually built up a community of people beforehand?
You bring people to your platform because they already have an audience and you're trying to get their audience to watch you. You're only putting people on your platform that have already made it. Who are you putting on? Where have you extended the ladder? Now, granted, I don't think that many people are trying to hop on your ladder at this point, but I digress.
It's absolutely wild to me that no one is up here challenging the things that he's saying in order to give perhaps a different perspective, but I think that there's incentives not to.
And see, that's the biggest problem with a lot of like media and these influencers and movements like this. It's like you can't be critical of other people that you're participating in these movements with. You end up with a community of yes men. You end up with a circle jerk of, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Even if they genuinely don't agree with what's being said, it's either you're with us or you're against us. There's no in between of, hey, I'm going to be critical of this group because I care about where they're going. I care about the messaging. It's just no. Skins versus shirts. We have to hold the line. It just stunts any bit of growth that could possibly happen within any community.
Kevin shouted me out on his platform an uncountable amount of times. And in fact, you're going to see comments right below this video of people saying that they found my channel out after watching KS.
So then you can't say that he's not helping other content creators grow if it's happened, right? Like if there's actual evidence of it happening, like then you just can't make statements like that.
He ain't have to do this. He ain't have to leave my comment out for people to go up, click on my profile and see what I am about. Shit, he also shouted me out when I had cancer.
I forgot that happened. Well, I'm glad that you're doing better. Somebody was making fun of that, and it was real disgusting that they were doing that. I can't remember who. Maybe that's a good thing. But I'm glad you're doing better.
Kevin would often call TLA just to have conversations about the things that are happening within the space.
I think some people just get jealous. I honestly think that Myron's just saying this because he felt some type of way about himself not getting help in that way. I guess because he's finding out that everyone else had these close relationships with him and he didn't. Now he's maybe a little jelly. Is that possible? Maybe that's a possibility. Just a little jelly because you found out that the popular boy in school He's hanging out with everybody else but you. Okay, he's in his fifis. We know that Myron likes to get in his fifis.
No, Myron, there were content creators that he selected to bring forward. It just wasn't you. But there were those that he did associate with within his past that just weren't ready, or they did not have the appropriate professional image to carry the torch forward. And I'm not trying to say that I've been done the best at it myself, but I guarantee you, if Kevin was still alive, his channel would still be monetized.
It's true. Once you start making these type of numbers, you gotta be smart so that you're not painting yourself as a pariah where people don't want to touch you. So like Myron with all his extreme anti-black racism, even though sometimes he claims to be black, other times he doesn't, talking about the Jewish community like crazy, like talking out the side of his neck about everybody. You're not the type of person that people want to associate with. You're gonna say things that are gonna make advertisers run and take their money with them.
If you try to capture an audience and you have more of a Jerry Springer-esque, or what can be described as that, as the way that you do content, via you have like, let's say a Judge Judy, and let's say that the goal of each of those is to do DNA tests, where you're gonna get a lot different audience if you do it in a Jerry Springer fashion as opposed to a Judge Judy fashion.
His show is ratchet. He brings on OnlyFans models, and then he just yells at them.
To introduce something as robust as what Kevin was attempting to introduce, you have to be surgical. You can't go in like an atom bomb in the mainstream and act like that's going to be the way to really impact change.
People will have to want to hear what you're saying. If you're saying a bunch of off-the-wall, off-color stuff, people are not going to want to listen to what you have to say, even if the next thing that's going to come out of your mouth is reasonable. Fresh and Fit fumbled their bag big time by getting demonetized and by not evolving their platform, just making it more ratchet. It's just like, how ratchet can we make this? The type of audience you're going to build with content like that is people who want to be entertained, not people who are actually trying to build upon themselves or grow. You're going to attract people that are just watching to be entertained. Like, no one watches Jerry Springer to learn anything. They just watch to see some ratchet shit that makes them feel better about their own lives. Those two worlds just don't mix, because he did push bettering yourselves, right? Like, that was a very big aspect of what he was talking about. How can you be a better version of yourself? And that doesn't fit with Jerry. But
what I will say is, when he did those Nicki Minaj collabs, when he did those big events, there was no shout out to anybody from the sphere.
Why didn't you introduce me to Nicki Minaj? Why didn't you put her on our podcast? Why didn't you tell her to come visit us on our podcast? Whiny bee behavior. If you didn't screw up your image, you would be in those spaces too. That's your own fault. Take accountability. Take accountability for why you're not being invited into those spaces. There's a reason why Pearly Things is getting invited onto Pierce Morgan and you're not. And I'm not a fan of Pearly either. Okay, she got some big bag issues too.
But when you understand that Kevin couldn't stand these guys, then you understand where this may be coming from.
And it kills me because like a guy like Donovan Sharp platformed him like 80 times. And he never shouted him out. And I always was like, what the hell?
This is so high school.
Kevin's brand was mostly popularized within Black media, where Kevin would ride for fixing things that were wrong within the Black community while also giving strength and power to men. But Kevin was for relationships. He was for marriages. He was for bringing people together. Now,
we had the same interpretation or understanding of what Kevin Samuels' message actually was.
Now imagine if he shouted out Donovan and then they go over to Donovan's platform and they hear Donovan saying things such as black is this, black is that. Now, I don't know if he still talks like that, but if your expectation is that because you work with somebody, collaborated, what did he say, 80 times or something like that, for free, unpaid, whatever, just your time, is your expectation is that now because you've done that, now I have to be able to put you on? People would question Kevin's narrative or motives if someone that he puts on is speaking that negatively about the people that he's trying to put together.
Exactly. You can't sit over here and talk all this pro-Black stuff and then be chummy with someone who speaks very negatively about Black people and not in a constructive way. There is a fine line between giving critique for our community and wanting that critique to lead to better choices versus just seeing all the problems that we have in the community as content and things that you can create entertainment off of. Even the way you point out problems matters, because if your goal is to help people grow and be better, if you call out those problems in such a derogatory fashion, those same people are not going to hear the steps to improve. They've already just filed you under hater because you come off so damn hateful. If you're actually pushing forward a message of wanting people to improve upon their lives, you can't in the same breath be extremely derogatory towards them. It just doesn't work that way. And also, Donovan's goofy as hell. Once you start getting into better spaces, you gotta reevaluate the people that's around you. Not everybody is meant to be in the same spaces that you're in just because you've gotten into those spaces and they haven't. Some people need to be left behind because they goofy as hell. If I'm about to make some major moves, I'm not gonna bring people around who are going to mess up the bag. You gotta go or you gotta level up. If the people around you are not also on that same upward trajectory and they're not trying to grow, they will be a big hindrance to you. They will hold you back, or they might get jealous. They might get jealous and start trying to sabotage you because they feel like you don't deserve what you're getting. So you gotta be very careful about the people you surround yourself with, especially once you start making real money.
Kevin got a lot of backlash for appearing to go easy on Nicki Minaj when it was brought up on that platform. But do you think Kevin cared about that? No. Kevin wanted to get in. Why? Because Kevin wanted her audience.
If he had went in on Nicki Minaj, that would have shut so many doors. There's ways to convey the same messages, but in a way that is palatable to the audience that you're talking to. Because if the goal is to spread the message, you're going to remove the whole idea of ego and pride. And you're going to focus on, how do I deliver this message to this audience in a way that they will digest it and start making better life choices?
I got a little bit of controversy for saying what I said about, Kevin Samuels, but dude, it's true, man. It's true.
I'm not gonna lie. Every single time I look at Myron, he just reminds me of like Temu Lucas. He looks like Temu Amazing Lucas. You order him off of Shein, this is what you get.
And he also talked through how O'Shea didn't get put on his platform. They were working together behind scenes. O'Shea had his team editing a lot for Kevin. But nevertheless, I'm pretty sure that he mentioned O'Shea at least one time, but it doesn't matter.
Some people don't care about if you shout them out, if you're doing business behind the scenes. It's so childish. Why didn't you shout me out? If you're making money moves behind the scenes, nobody gives a damn about a shout out.
Just feels like some victim ass shit. People should be able to stand on their own too, with or without a call out from the top content creators.
When Kevin Samuels was going viral for saying you're average at best.
Okay.
Do you guys know that he was in Miami when he was blown up on World Star?
Yeah, he was.
He was in Miami. When he did the show with us, he had just done that episode.
Even still, like, he called into your platform after that.
After we did the show, we went to CVS.
Okay.
And he got some Mike and Ikes. And I remember this because he got the red hot chili, the spicy ones. He was checking his phone the whole time. Oh man, we're blowing up. Oh man. And I was watching his Instagram blow up.
Yeah.
He had 20K, guys. When he came on our show, I'll never get this shit. He had like 20K. Like a day or two later, a week later, he had 1 million.
So what was the point of all that? What does that bit of narrative have to do with any of the claims that you're making? Are you mad because at that moment he didn't say, and shout out to Fresh and Fit, like at that exact moment? What's the plot here?
I'm not gonna speak ill of the deceased.
You are.
But I don't got anything negative to say about him.
I don't have anything negative to say about him, even though I just went on this whole rant trying to say that he was a crab in the barrel. That's basically what you're accusing him of. But you're not saying nothing negative. These people are so unserious. It's actually hilarious.
Now I want to make sure that before I pass, I'm able to help out my guys as much as I can.
You blew up your career. And not in a good way. You kind of messed up the bag for anyone you would try to help because you're a pariah. Nobody wants to be associated with you. Not anybody with real money.
I want all my friends to win. I want anyone that has worked with Fresh and Fit in the past in the red pill space. We're going to bring you guys up too. Because if they blow up and they surpass us, great. Then we could go work with them.
We're going to bring you down. That's what really would happen. You associate with them, you're going to go down. Because all the negative things that they're associated with, the anti-Black racism, the anti-Semitism, that's what they call it, you should be able to point out things without being called an anti-Semite. But the things that he's posted are clearly anti-Semitic. Don't nobody want to be pulled down to your level, okay? Where you're just like an internet troll. What you gonna do? Create a legion of trolls?
Like you look at like Andrew Tate, right? Andrew blew up and, he didn't retract the ladder. He still works with us. He still talk, shouts us out.
Because he's a pariah too. These pariahs are working together and they're like, yeah, he's keeping the ladder up.
He's previously admitted to calling Kevin the F word behind scenes.
The F word? You mean like gay? He's got a lot of nerve calling anybody the F word. Okay, that's your community, Myron. You can't call somebody the F word and then have pictures like that online. Stop.
The first ways that Fresh and Fit went viral was through Kevin Samuels' participation. And I know this because I did a reaction off of it. Now, my reaction...
That's the video I'm talking about. Like, not his video, but that's the live stream that I'm talking about. I remember him calling in.
Now, this video up on their channel got millions and millions and millions of views. But did he have to call in to collaborate with you guys? But where is this in your description that he didn't collaborate or help anybody?
Myron is just a hurt little girl, okay? He's got his little feelings hurt. He's in his fifis. He's seeing all these other people continue to do well and grow their communities, and his has stalled out because of his own poor choices, his poor business choices. Him and Walter. They need to start taking accountability for their choices and stop trying to blame others for why their careers have stalled out. It's just funny coming from these same people that push accountability, but for some reason, their mirror is always foggy. They can never see themselves in the mirror for who they truly are and start correcting themselves from within. That's what happens when you got males speaking about manhood to other males and there's no real man in the room. I am curious of how Myron is going to digest the criticisms given by MCR, because we know how he takes criticism. He yells and gets very emotional. That's what happened with Abba and Preach. MCR could probably expect an emotional response. We'll see. Deuces.